Over the past few months, we've been documenting our incredible journey through China in a weekly travelogue series, showing you exactly what it's like to explore this vast country as we did. And what an adventure it has been. From jaw-dropping landscapes to unforgettable cities, the highlight for us was riding the rails. We traveled over 3,300 miles by high-speed train, weaving our way through 9 cities. We visited Hong Kong, Changsha, Zhangjiajie National Park, Chongqing, Chengdu, Xi'an, Beijing, Hangzhou, and lastly, Shanghai. The train was super fast, it was seamless, and nothing short of extraordinary. Now, in last week's episode, Bev walked you through the nuts and bolts of planning independent travel in China with practical tips to help make your trip smooth and stress-free. If you missed it, we've linked it below. It is packed with helpful insights that you won't want to travel without. But this week, we're shifting gears and focusing entirely on trains. From booking tickets and navigating stations to comparing seat classes and spotting the fun quirks that make Chinese rail travel feel a little bit like luxury. We're covering it all, so let's go.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers. If you're just finding us, we are an American senior travel couple who are on the adventure of our lives. We're traveling China, Japan, and South Korea on this leg, so hit subscribe and follow along on our little travel log. We are a few weeks ahead of our videos, so if you're wondering where we are in the world, we keep our Instagram updated to our current location, so follow us there.
Before we jump in, I want to encourage you to go back and watch our full China travelogue series. We included tons of real-time train footage and showed exactly how we navigated both train and subway stations throughout China. If you're planning your own trip, there's a lot you can learn just by watching how we did it, step by step. So take a look and let the journey inspire your own. If you're planning to travel across China, one of the smartest and, dare we say, most exhilarating decisions you can make is to ride the high-speed rail. China's train system is more than a mode of transportation. It is a marvel of modern engineering that offers an eye-opening and efficient way to explore the country. So let's start with a little perspective. China's high-speed rail network is massive, and it spans over 28,000 miles and growing fast. That's nearly 2/3 of all the high-speed rail lines in the entire world. And by 2035, they're aiming to stretch that to a jaw-dropping 43,000 miles. Trains regularly cruise over 200 miles per hour and very smooth. To put it in perspective, the journey from Beijing to Shanghai covers a little more than 800 miles, but it takes only 4.5 hours. Now, let's compare that to a recent Amtrak ride that we took in the US, covering a similar distance. It took us a whopping 17 hours. Yep, we felt the difference. And it's only getting faster. China plans to cut that Beijing to Shanghai trip down to just 2.5 hours in the future with their next-gen trains that could even outpace air travel. The train types are categorized by letters, and for those seeking speed and comfort, the G series is your go-to. Now, these are the sleek, white, futuristic machines that you see in travel documentaries. They are built for premium long-distance travel, connecting megacities with speed and grace. The D series trains are a step down in speed, but still very impressive, while the C series are great for shorter commuter hops. On our journey, we took the G series, except for one occasion where we took a D. Once you've selected your route, you'll choose between 3 classes of service: second class, first class, or our favorite, business class. Second class is a solid budget-friendly choice with a 3x2 seating layout. It's a little bit tight and you may end up in a middle seat, but the cars are very clean and perfectly fine. We did get assigned a middle seat on one leg, but with a quick, polite request to the attendant, we were allowed to move to an open row. Now, first class is arranged in a 2x2 format and offers more space and comfort with very plush seats. We found it to be a very enjoyable ride. But for a truly remarkable experience, business class is the only way to go. You know, picture airline-style seats that fully recline, oodles of leg room, snack boxes, and hot meals delivered to your tray table. And the best part, the upgrade is surprisingly affordable. In a country where luxury often comes at a bargain, this is your chance to treat yourself without any budgetary guilt. We genuinely love traveling this way, and if you're wondering about the price differences, here's a real-world example of one of our 5-hour routes. Second class was about $75, first class came in around $120, and business class topped out at $250. Yes, you could probably find a flight for less, but then you'd be dealing with airport lines, security checks, and missed views. In our humble opinion, there's hardly any reason to fly when China's high-speed rail is this smooth, scenic, and stress-free. Booking train tickets in China as a foreign traveler takes a little bit more extra effort. While Chinese citizens can book directly with their national ID cards, international visitors need to go through a third-party platform like Trip.com or agencies like China Highlights. Fortunately, these sites are user-friendly, but here's the catch. Tickets typically aren't released until 15 days before departure. You can submit your request ahead of time and the platform will try to secure your tickets the moment they go on sale. That is exactly what we did. We pre-ordered through Trip.com and 15 days before each trip, our tickets popped up into our account. Now, at first, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, not having the tickets confirmed well in advance. We like to plan ahead, especially since we were building our entire route around the train tickets. But after a few rides, we noticed that, most second-class cars weren't even close to full. These trains are very long, and we were surprised at how many empty seats we saw. Our advice is don't stress about getting a spot, especially on the major routes. There are plenty of trains and plenty of seats. Just trust the system. It works. Because business class seats are a little more limited, they tend to sell out quickly. If we missed out, we were automatically booked into first or even second class on that same train. The system prioritizes getting you on that train, not necessarily in your preferred seat status. But since seat choice mattered more to us than timing, we often canceled and rebooked a different train just to snag better seats. Now, one important note, your passport acts as your ticket, so you can't double book and cancel later. You have to cancel first before making a new reservation. Just something to keep in mind when you're booking. And one more quick tip. Since your passport acts as your ticket, it's easy to forget your seat and car number, especially if you're juggling multiple trains. Before you head to the station, open your booking app like Trip.com and take a screenshot of your seat assignment. I made a habit of doing this every time, and trust me, it came in handy more times than not. Now, let's talk about the train stations, because in China, they're a whole different beast. These aren't your quaint little platforms with a bench and a Coke machine. China's train stations are massive. They are high-tech transportation hubs, like think airport-sized. You'll go through security checks and luggage scanners just like you would at an airport. Once inside, it's a world of soaring ceilings, multiple departure gates, convenience stores, restaurants, and even, wait for it, rows of massage chairs. Now, after a long day of sightseeing, scanning a few yuan just to have those vibrating thrones was pure bliss. Now, if you're a noodle lover, rejoice. Hot water dispensers are everywhere, in the stations and on the trains. So instant ramen is a very real thing and very popular dining option. We saw passengers in every class happily slurping away while watching the countryside fly by. You can easily pick up a bowl in the station before you board. And one last tip, always double check the name of your train station. Major cities like Beijing or Shanghai have multiple stations, east, west, north, south, and they are nowhere near each other. A wrong station could mean a missed train or a serious travel headache, so confirm before you go. You should know that throughout our entire train journey, we regularly use the integrated subway systems located right inside the major train stations. These subways were very easy to navigate, incredibly clean, and just as well marked as the train stations themselves. We bought our subway tickets at machines that offered English language options. It was super simple and much quicker and cheaper than hiring a car. We recommend arriving at the train station maybe 45 to 60 minutes early. First you'll pass through baggage screening, but it's much simpler and faster than airport security. Then head to the large overhead departure boards, which lists your train number, departure times, and gates, usually in both Chinese and English. One thing we really appreciated was the punctuality. Trains left almost down to the second. When your train is ready to board, the board will switch from red to green. That's your cue to head to the gate. They don't let you hang out on the platform. They keep you in the station until about 15 minutes before departure. Most Chinese passengers scan their national ID cards at automated turnstiles. Now, as a foreign traveler, you'll need to go to the manual passport check line, usually located to one of the sides. Simply look for the attendant standing there and they will help you. They will scan your passport and let you through. After that, just follow the signs to your platform, find your car and seat number, all very clearly marked, and you are good to go. And if you do need help, there's usually someone nearby to point you in the right direction, but fortunately, we never got lost. Now, if you're traveling in business class, you'll likely have access to a lounge at most of the major train stations. These lounges often have their own private entrance, usually separate from the main crowds, and offer light snacks, soft drinks, and plenty of comfortable seating. When we booked a Didi, which is China's version of Uber, we asked our driver to drop us off directly at the lounge entrance. Once inside, attendants scan your passport and luggage, then hand you a number card for your table. When it's time to board, they come to you and personally escort you straight to your train car. It is a very VIP experience, and honestly, for the price, the luxury to cost ratio feels like it's almost too good to be true. Once you're on board, you'll find overhead luggage racks and larger compartments at the ends of each car. There aren't any really strict luggage restrictions, but boarding early definitely helps you secure a good spot. The ride itself is incredibly smooth, it's quiet and peaceful, with giant windows that offer cinematic sweeps of China's stunning and varied landscapes. If you're in business class, you'll also be given slippers and a blanket. Yes, we gladly accepted both. At first, it felt a little strange to slip off your shoes and put on the provided slippers, but when in China, do as the Chinese. We embraced the custom and ended up loving it. Food service is simple and well thought out. Business class passengers receive a snack box and on longer rides, a hot meal. Passengers in other classes can buy food from a rolling cart or scan a QR code at their seat to order snacks and drinks via their WeChat or Alipay app. Your order will be delivered directly to your seat with no hassle at all. We consistently felt that the attendants went out of their way to be kind to us. On one ride, a staff member even brought us a Western-style meal, assuming we might prefer it. We didn't, but the thoughtful gesture meant a lot. We also had several attendants make sure to remind us when our next stop was so that we would not miss things and gather up our things in time. Everyone we encountered, from staff to fellow passengers, was lovely. Interestingly, we almost never saw other Western travelers on the trains, but despite that, we always felt comfortable and welcomed. The overall atmosphere on board was quiet, but not uncomfortably so. There weren't silent, quiet cars, but people generally kept to themselves and spoke softly. Now, a word about punctuality. These trains run like clockwork. Seriously, don't be late. Trains are often very long, and if you cut it too close, you might just find yourself racing several football fields just to reach your assigned seat before the train pulls away. And unlike Europe, where tight connections are common, train transfers in China require a little bit more time. You'll need to pass through security, check your gate, and navigate to the correct platform. We recommend leaving at least 30 minutes between trains. Now, restrooms are located at the end of each car. We usually found Western-style toilets, though some may have squatty potties. But on G series, they were all Western-style toilets. Either way, they were consistently clean. Just in case, carry tissues and hand sanitizer, though we rarely needed them. There's also a large communal sink area near the restrooms that was always tidy and very useful. If there's one cultural note that stood out to us, it's the continued popularity of smoking among men, although it's much better than our trip from 2012. Now, while the trains themselves are smoke-free, we did notice crowds stepping off to grab a quick smoke the moment the train stopped. You may have to hold your breath for a few seconds on the platform, but that is about the only inconvenience we encountered. These are modern, clean, and quiet trains. In fact, the passengers were always well dressed, the interiors were spotless, and the entire system felt more polished than many trains we've taken in Europe. Honestly, it's one of the most impressive rail systems in the world. China's economic growth is on full display here. The wealth, the infrastructure, and the technology, especially in transportation, are simply remarkable. The train system is a prime example of how far things have come. Chinese trains have become one of our all-time favorite ways to travel, and we hope it becomes yours too. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to go back and watch last week's video on practical travel tips for China. And don't miss our full travelogue series where we explored 9 incredible cities across this country. There's lots of train footage in those episodes too. To sum it all up, traveling by train in China isn't just a way to get from point A to point B. It's an experience. It's efficient, affordable, and surprisingly luxurious. With a little prep, a good booking strategy, and a dash of curiosity, you can ride like a pro. Next week, the journey continues. We'll be crossing the sea and diving into our adventures in Japan and South Korea. We'll see you then. Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.